Welcome back to Mental Minute, where we tackle those big brain-bending ideas. You ever catch yourself doing something you know you shouldn't be doing?
Like reaching for that extra cookie even though you swore you'd eat healthy today.
Oh my gosh, you read my mind.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking about. It's like my brain is waging war with itself.
That, my friend, is the classic case of cognitive dissonance.
Cognitive dissonance.
Ugh.
Sounds intense.
It's that mental discomfort we feel when our actions clash with our beliefs or values.
So basically, feeling like a hypocrite. Like I preach healthy eating, but my actions are all chips and cookies.
You got it. And our brains hate feeling inconsistent.
So what happens? Does my brain just explode from the sheer hypocrisy of it all?
Not quite, but it does go into overdrive trying to resolve that dissonance.
Okay, so how does it do that?
Well, back in the 1950s, a psychologist named Leon Festinger came up with this theory. He observed that people crave consistency.
Makes sense. We like things to make sense.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
when our actions contradict our beliefs, it creates that uncomfortable dissonance.
And our brain can't just ignore it.
Nope. Instead, it tries to smooth things over, either by changing our behavior or justifying our actions.
So it's like mental gymnastics. My brain's twisting itself into a pretzel to make me feel better.
You could say that, and it's surprisingly good at it.
Give me an example. One that doesn't involve my secret cookie stash.
All right, let's talk about the meat paradox.
Well, what now?
The meat paradox. Many people love animals, but also enjoy eating meat.
Yeah, I see that. I love my dog, but I also love a good burger.
And that creates dissonance, right? Caring for animals, but also consuming them.
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a bit of a conflict.
So how do people reconcile that?
I guess some folks become vegetarian or vegan.
That's one way to align your actions with your beliefs, but others find ways to justify their meat consumption.
Like how?
They might downplay the intelligence of animals or emphasize the natural order of things.
Oh, so they're changing their beliefs to fit their actions.
Precisely. It's all about minimizing that dissonance.
Wow, that's kind of unsettling. Are you saying we can trick ourselves into believing anything just to feel good about our choices?
Not necessarily trick, but our brains are masters of self-justification.
This is starting to feel a little too close to home. Are there any other less meaty examples?
Sure. Think about smoking.
Okay.
Smokers know the risks but often downplay them.
Also?
They might cling to beliefs that smoking helps them focus or relax, or they might exaggerate doubts about the scientific evidence.
So they're basically creating their own reality where smoking isn't that bad.
It's a way of protecting their sense of self, even if it means bending the truth a little.
So cognitive dissonance is not just about mental gymnastics. It's about our deep-seated need to feel good about ourselves, even if it means ignoring reality.
You got it. And while it can be harmless, sometimes it can also keep us stuck in unhealthy patterns or prevent us from making important changes.
Okay, so our brains are like little justification machines constantly churning away.
Mm-hmm.
But how do we actually deal with this dissonance? Can we, reprogram our brains to stop the mental gymnastics?
Not reprogram exactly, but there are ways to restore that sense of inner peace. One way is changing our behavior.
So, instead of rationalizing that second slice of pizza,
Yeah.
I just resist the temptation.
Exactly. You acknowledge the conflict between your desire and your health goals and choose the salad instead. Boom, dissonance gone.
Right. But easier said than done. Those pizza cravings are strong.
Oh, absolutely. That's why our brains have those backup justifications. Another tactic is changing those conflicting beliefs, tweaking them a bit to fit our actions.
Tweaking. Like giving them a little mental makeover.
Exactly. Let's say you cave and eat the pizza. You might start convincing yourself it's not that unhealthy. Maybe focus on the veggies and cheese for protein.
The old pizza's a balanced meal argument. I've definitely used that one.
Classic. By downplaying the negatives, you make your actions seem more acceptable.
Clever. But are there any other mental loopholes we use?
We can also add new cognitions to the mix. Think of it as bringing in reinforcements to support your decision.
New cognitions.
Yeah.
That's fancy.
It's basically adding new thoughts or actions to balance out the initial behavior, like telling yourself, I'll work out extra hard tomorrow to burn off that pizza.
So we're constantly making deals with ourselves, like a mental negotiation.
In a way, yes. It's
Okay.
all about finding that mental equilibrium.
And what about those times when we just completely ignore the conflicting information? Is that part of the mental dance too?
That's the final and perhaps most drastic tactic. It's where confirmation bias comes in. We selectively focus on information that supports our choices while conveniently ignoring anything that challenges them.
So if I'm a diehard pizza lover, I might just avoid reading anything about its health risks.
You might even surround yourself with fellow pizza enthusiasts, creating an echo chamber of confirmation.
Wow, so cognitive dissonance isn't just about mental gymnastics. It's shaping our entire perception of reality.
It plays a much bigger role than we realize. And while it can lead us down those mental rabbit holes, it does serve a purpose.
Hold on. You're telling me this brain-twisting phenomenon can actually be helpful?
In some ways, yes. Cognitive dissonance can motivate personal growth by pushing us towards consistency.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. How does that work?
Imagine quitting a job you've hated for years. You might experience some dissonance afterwards, doubts and uncertainty.
Makes sense. Big life changes can definitely trigger those feelings.
But that dissonance can actually motivate you to make the change work. You focus on the positives of your new path and downplay any regrets.
So our brains are pushing us to justify our actions by making them a success.
Exactly. It's like an internal cheerleader urging you forward.
Wow, I never thought I'd say this, but cognitive dissonance is kind of awesome.
It's a powerful force, but like any force, it has its pros and cons.
So it's all about recognizing when it's helping us grow and when it's holding us back.
You got it. By understanding these mental mechanisms, we can make more conscious choices.
Yeah.
Maybe even outsmart our own brains every now and then.
So we don't have to be at war with our own minds all the time.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance between self-awareness and self-acceptance.
This is giving me a lot to think about. Before I spiral into an existential crisis, how about we explore some real-world examples of cognitive dissonance at play? All right, real-world examples. Lay it on me.
Let's talk about cults.
Cults. Okay, a bit of a jump, but I'm listening.
Remember Leon Festinger, our
Uh-huh.
cognitive dissonance pioneer?
Yeah, the consistency guy.
Well, he infiltrated a doomsday cult back in the 50s.
A doomsday cult. Wow, what were they all about?
Yeah, they believed the world was ending on a specific date and that they'd be rescued by aliens.
Okay, that's a whole other level of dissonance.
Here's the thing. When the world didn't end and no aliens showed up,
Yeah,
instead of admitting they were wrong, the cult doubled down on their beliefs.
double down. How is that even possible? The world didn't end. That's pretty clear evidence.
It is, but they'd invested so much. Emotionally, socially, even financially, admitting defeat would create massive dissonance.
So their brains just couldn't handle it.
It was easier to rationalize their beliefs than to face the reality of being wrong.
So to protect themselves from that mental anguish, they just made up a new reality.
Pretty much, they might have convinced themselves the aliens granted humanity a second chance, or that they misread the signs. Something to maintain that sense of consistency.
Wow. That's a powerful example of how strong this need for consistency is.
It shows how easily we can get caught in our own echo chambers.
Makes you think, are there any modern-day examples of this?
Well, think about social media and the echo chambers we create online.
Oh, yeah. My newsfeed is basically a reflection of my own opinions.
And that's where cognitive dissonance comes in to reinforce those beliefs. When you're constantly exposed to information that confirms what you already think, it creates that comfortable sense of consistency.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more I see things I agree with, the more convinced I become that I'm right.
Exactly. And it makes us incredibly resistant to opposing viewpoints or new information.
No wonder online arguments are so pointless.
It highlights the importance of actively seeking out different perspectives. Challenging our own assumptions is crucial.
So how do we break free from these echo chambers? Should I start following people I disagree with?
It's a good start. It's about exposing ourselves to different ideas. Even if they make us a little uncomfortable, stepping outside our comfort zones can lead to growth.
Challenge accepted. Though I might need a mental break after venturing into those comment sections.
Fair enough. Remember, cognitive dissonance is a natural part of being human. It's how we make sense of the world.
It's this invisible force shaping our thoughts and actions, constantly pulling us towards consistency.
And by understanding it, we can become more mindful decision makers, navigate the complexities of life with a little more awareness.
Well, I'm definitely feeling a lot more self-aware after this conversation. I might even start paying more attention to those mental gymnastics.
And who knows? Maybe you'll even find a way to embrace those pizza cravings guilt-free.
Don't tempt me. But seriously, this has been an incredibly fascinating look into the human mind. Thanks for joining me on Mental Minute. Until next time, stay curious.